Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to hear me and hear me well. Confidence is not a gift. It's not something you're born with or something some people just have. No, confidence is a skill, and like every skill, it can be built, trained, and sharpened like a blade. You weren't born knowing how to walk, talk, or ride a bike, but you learned, and the same is true for confidence. It doesn't come from your circumstances. It comes from your belief, your repetition, your decision to show up even when you're shaking on the inside. You don't wait for confidence, you create it day by day, step by step. And today, I'm going to show you how to stop doubting and start developing the inner fire that's been waiting inside you all along. It's time to train your mind, elevate your voice, and step boldly into the world like you were meant to. Let's build it, vast, strong, and unstoppable. Confidence grows through action, not overthinking. Do the thing, even when you're scared. That right there is the heartbeat of building confidence. Most people wait for the perfect moment, the perfect feeling, or the perfect set of circumstances before they act, and in doing so, they miss the very opportunity to become confident. Confidence isn't something you wait to feel before you move. It's something that begins to build the moment you take action in spite of fear. It's born in the fire of discomfort, in the pressure of doing the thing when your legs are shaking and your voice is trembling. That's where confidence is forged. In the act itself, let's be honest, fear isn't going away, doubt will still whisper, your mind will try to talk you out of your greatness, but action has a way of silencing those voices, not all at once, but enough to get you moving. Every time you take a step forward, every time you do what you said you would do, even while afraid, you create evidence that you are capable. That evidence piles up. That's how your belief system changes. You stop identifying with who you were, and you start seeing who you're becoming. Overthinking, on the other hand, is the enemy of confidence. It keeps you trapped in a loop of self-doubt, questioning every move, magnifying every flaw, replaying every mistake. When you overthink, you don't act, and when you don't act, you rob yourself of progress. Confidence doesn't grow in delay. It doesn't grow in analysis. It grows in movement. It grows in the decision to try. You don't have to feel fearless. You just have to choose to act anyway. That's where the power is. Every confident person you see today started with the same nerves, the same fears, the same doubts, but they didn't wait for those things to go away. They walked with them. They stood on the stage with a racing heart. They made the call with shaky hands. They launched the idea with no guarantee of success. And in doing so, they built momentum. That's what confidence really is. It's not arrogance, it's not ego, it's momentum. It's what happens when you keep showing up and keep doing the work, even when it feels uncomfortable. When you take action consistently, something inside you begins to shift. You start to trust yourself more. You stop needing outside validation because your own actions become your proof. You look back and see all the times you were scared and still showed up. That history of courage becomes your foundation. And over time, you begin to realize that fear doesn't control you. You control what you do with it. Confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's mastery over your response to fear. If you want to build confidence fast, you have to shorten the time between decision and action. Don't give your fear room to breathe. Don't give your doubts time to grow. You make the decision, and then you move. That could be something as small as starting the conversation, raising your hand, hitting send, or stepping on that stage. Each act might seem small on its own, but together, they create a rhythm of courage, and it's in that rhythm that you find your strength. You don't need a massive leap to build confidence. You need consistent, courageous steps. One action at a time, one choice at a time. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. And it's not because the fear disappears. It's because you become more powerful than it. You become the kind of person who does hard things. The kind who doesn't back down when it's uncomfortable. The kind who knows that fear is just a feeling, not a fact. Doing the thing while scared rewires your brain. It teaches your nervous system that you can handle pressure. It builds emotional resilience, and the more often you do it, the more normal it becomes. You normalize discomfort. You train yourself to operate under stress. You show yourself that you are capable of more than you thought. Confidence is really just the byproduct of repeated bravery. Every small act of courage compounds into a new version of you. One who believes, one who tries, one who leads. So if you're waiting for the fear to leave before you start that project, speak up in that room, take that chance, or chase that dream. You'll be waiting forever. Confidence will meet you in motion, not before. The courage to act creates the experience, and the experience builds the belief. That's how confidence grows. Not from wishing, not from reading, not from watching someone else live their dream. It grows from doing. From stepping out and putting yourself on the line. From deciding that fear is not your ruler. Repetition and preparation are the foundation of real, lasting confidence. Confidence doesn't come from hype or empty affirmations. It comes from doing something over and over again until it becomes a part of you. Think about a great speaker, a top athlete, or a skilled musician. They didn't wake up with that level of confidence. They earned it through hours of practice, thousands of reps, and countless moments of preparation when no one was watching. The world only sees the end result, but true confidence is built in the unseen hours, in the grind, in the repetition of mastering your craft. You don't gain confidence by guessing. You gain it by knowing. Knowing that you've done the work, knowing that you've trained for this, knowing that you're ready because you prepared for this moment. That knowing gives you a calmness. It gives you a quiet strength. You don't need to be loud or flashy when you're truly prepared, because your preparation speaks louder than any words ever could. That's why repetition matters. Repetition builds familiarity, and familiarity builds certainty. The more you do something, the less intimidating it becomes, and the more natural your response becomes in moments of pressure. Think of preparation as your internal armor. When you walk into a room, into a meeting, onto a stage, or into any challenge fully prepared, there's a different energy about you. You're not hoping it works. You know what you're capable of because you've done the reps. Even if fear shows up, even if nerves try to shake you, your preparation anchors you. It reminds you that you've already put in the time, that you've already done the work when nobody else was around to clap for you. That kind of self-assurance can't be faked, and it can't be borrowed. It must be earned. Repetition is what creates mastery, and mastery builds confidence. You repeat the task, the speech, the pitch, the plan, again and again. Each time you repeat it, you refine it. You learn what works and what doesn't. You get smoother, sharper, faster, and more sure of yourself. Confidence grows with each repetition, because every time you do the thing, you remove a little more doubt. You reduce the friction, you make excellence your default. It's not that you become fearless, it's that you become familiar, experienced, and precise. The danger for most people is that they give up too early. They try something once or twice, feel unsure, and think they're not cut out for it. But the truth is, anything worth mastering takes time. It takes reps. It takes failing, learning, adjusting, and repeating. That's where your edge comes from. You have to stay long enough with the process to let confidence take root. You can't microwave it. You have to train it. And that means putting in the work whether you feel like it or not. When you're willing to prepare like no one else, you gain a confidence that no one can take from you. You don't need to fake it. You don't need to put on a mask, because your preparation gives you authenticity. Your repetition gives you reliability. People can feel that, and more importantly, you can feel that. You trust yourself not because you're perfect, but because you're prepared. Not because you never fail, but because you've practiced enough to know how to bounce back. Confidence isn't about being the best in the room, it's about being your best consistently. That's what preparation and repetition give you. They eliminate the guesswork. They allow you to walk into unfamiliar situations with a sense of peace, because you've faced enough versions of that challenge before. You know your tools, you've refined your approach, you've paid your dues. That's why the most confident people are often the most prepared. They don't leave things to chance, they don't wing it, they work it. This kind of preparation applies to every area of life. Whether it's your career, your relationships, your health, or your personal goals, confidence is always built the same way. You study, you train, you rehearse, you visualize, you practice, you fail and try again. You keep going until it becomes second nature. That is how you shift from anxiety to assurance, from self-doubt to self-trust, from hesitation to action. Confidence doesn't come in a single moment. It comes in the accumulation of moments where you chose to prepare when you could have coasted, where you chose to repeat the process when you could have given up. Every time you do that, you're making a deposit in the bank of confidence, and when the moment comes to perform, speak, lead, or show up, You withdraw from that bank, you draw on your preparation, you lean on your reps. You don't rise to the level of your hopes. You rise to the level of your training. That's where true confidence lies. The way you speak to yourself becomes the way you show up. Train your inner voice daily. Yourself. Talk is the hidden script behind every action, every choice, and every moment you step into the world. Most people don't realize it, but the words you repeat to yourself are shaping the quality of your confidence every single day. If that inner voice is full of doubt, criticism, and fear, then your actions will reflect hesitation, insecurity, and anxiety. But if your self-talk is supportive, bold, and encouraging, you begin to walk, speak, and live with a level of confidence that radiates from the inside out. We all have an inner dialogue running constantly. The problem is, for many, that dialogue was shaped by years of failure, criticism, or painful experiences. So what do they end up repeating to themselves? I'm not good enough. I always mess things up. Who do I think I am to try this? These aren't just harmless thoughts. These are instructions you're giving to your brain and your body. Your subconscious is listening to everything you say, and it starts to create behaviors that align with that belief. When you constantly reinforce doubt through your inner dialogue, your actions start to play small. You avoid risks, you shrink in opportunities, you hesitate in moments that require boldness. On the other hand, if you make it a daily discipline to train your inner voice to speak power into your life, you'll notice a transformation not just in how you feel, but in how you operate. You begin to walk differently, you speak with more clarity, you look people in the eye, you trust your decisions, you take up space in the world without apologizing for it. That's the power of reprogramming your internal conversation. It's not about lying to yourself, it's about telling the truth about your potential. It's about speaking the version of you that you are becoming. Training your inner voice doesn't happen by accident. It takes intention. Just like going to the gym, you've got to work that mental muscle every single day. You've got to catch the negative thoughts when they arise and challenge them. Ask, is this really true? Is this thought helping me or hurting me? Replace it with something stronger. Something aligned with who you want to be. Say, I'm learning. Say, I can figure this out. Say, I'm getting better every day. Over time, those new affirmations become your default setting, and when your default setting is strong, your confidence becomes unshakable. Think about it. Every champion, every high achiever, every powerful leader talks to themselves differently. They feed their mind with language that empowers them, especially when the pressure is on. When doubt creeps in, they don't feed it. They fight it with truth. They remind themselves who they are, what they've been through, and why they won't give up now. That's a trained voice. That's not accidental. That's the product of mental discipline. Your inner voice has the power to either build your confidence or destroy it. If you spoke to a friend the way you sometimes speak to yourself, they wouldn't stick around very long. So why tolerate that kind of language from yourself? You've got to become your own greatest ally, not your worst enemy. Start talking to yourself like someone you believe in. Speak with compassion, speak with courage, speak with purpose, because every time you do, you strengthen the core of your confidence. You don't need anyone else to validate you when you've trained your inner voice to do it for you. That doesn't mean you become arrogant. It means you become secure. You stop begging the world to tell you who you are, and you start declaring it for yourself. And from that place of inner security, you make better decisions, you take bigger leaps, and you recover faster from setbacks. That's the power of having a voice in your head that lifts you instead of limiting you. This kind of self-talk is not about faking positivity. It's about choosing power over fear. You're not pretending everything is perfect. You're simply choosing to believe that you are capable of handling whatever comes. That belief becomes the foundation of your confidence, and the beautiful thing is, this voice can be trained by anyone at any stage of life. You don't need permission, you don't need a perfect past, you just need the willingness to speak differently to yourself from this day forward. Every morning, you get to choose how you talk to yourself. That choice becomes your mindset, that mindset becomes your actions, and those actions become your results. So if you want to change your life, start by changing your internal language. Start talking to yourself like someone worth rooting for. Because the world hears you the way you hear yourself. When you speak power within, you begin to move with power without. Confidence isn't found in a book or in someone else's praise. It's found in the quiet, consistent conversation you have with yourself every single day. Confidence is not some magical trait reserved for a chosen few. It's a muscle, a skill, and a decision. You build it by taking action in the face of fear. You strengthen it through repetition, preparation, and showing up even when you don't feel ready. And you sustain it by mastering the voice in your head. Because how you speak to yourself becomes how you show up in the world. Don't wait for confidence to arrive. Create it. Build it. Train it like your future depends on it. Because it does. The life you want, the dream you carry, and the greatness within you will only come alive when you stop hesitating and start believing. You've got everything you need to become who you were meant to be. So walk forward boldly, speak with conviction, and act with courage. Because confidence isn't found, it's built, and you're building it right now.